Welcome back to Nature League. If you watch Nature League regularly, you know that my favorite animals are sharks. However, these aren't exactly global favorites. While it's hard to accurately gauge this kind of thing, some research teams have used combinations of methods to come up with a general idea of the world's favorite animals. For example, a study in 2018 determined the top 10 charismatic species to the Western public by considering survey results, zoo advertisement photographs, and covers of animated movies. The top 10 list was as follows: tiger, lion, elephant, giraffe, leopard, panda, cheetah, polar bear, wolf, and gorilla. The species on this list, which might include your personal favorite, have several things in common. First off, species considered charismatic by humans typically resemble humans in one way or another. This could be as simple as just being mammals, like all 10 on that list, or as specific as being a primate, like the gorilla. Secondly, charismatic species tend to be large, hence the phrase charismatic megafauna, which is used in conservation circles. Thirdly, they tend to belong to the carnivore family, despite carnivores making up less than 5% of all mammal species on Earth. Generally, charismatic species can play significant roles in human livelihood, happiness, or economics. For example, bees made some top 10 lists I found, and this most likely has to do with the associated economics importance of bees to agriculture. That said, bees are totally awesome in their own right. Also, it's interesting to note that half of that top 10 list are species related to our commonly adopted home animal companions like cats and dogs. So maybe we find some species charismatic because they're familiar to us in the forms of ones we interact with daily. However, it could be a chicken and the egg thing, where it's possible that we domesticated cats and dogs because we already liked things like lions and wolves. Quick pause for the cause though. Number one, domestic cats evolved from wild cats, not big cats like lions and tigers. And two, the egg absolutely came first. There is no other answer. Hard stance, don't at me, but at me. Let's talk. Of course, there's always the aesthetic argument. Charismatic species are typically appealing in appearance and/or sound. However, this is such a subjective thing that it's impossible to quantify. I mean, people who are unable to hear or see still have certain species appeal to them more than others. Plus, a tiger and a tiger snake have similar beautiful patterns, but that wasn't enough to put the tiger snake on the favorites list. Now, while I do love me a good mammalian tiger now and then, I've always been more fascinated with animals that break these general rules and yet are still super interesting and appealing. Similarly to sharks, most of my other species in my personal top 10 list are ones that other people don't seem to share the fangirl opinion of. Most of the time, these species are unfamiliar, stereotypically odd looking, and carry some sort of cultural or ecological stigma. The species on my top 10 list that I'd like to explore in this episode is all of the above. Nature Leaguers, I present the ii. If you've already heard of this species, then great. You can probably understand why I like them so much. And if you've never heard of an ii, then great. You're in for a treat. But first, let's see how people around the office reacted when I tried to get them to identify one by photo.
Wow. What do I think this is? I don't know what this man is. Some sort of cousin of a possum. This is how I think my dog felt every time it saw a possum in our backyard. I'm gonna see these eyes when I'm falling asleep tonight.
So how do we feel about soul-sucking abilities?
Oh, 100%. I'm hoping that because it's just a photo, like some of the soul-sucking abilities are like deadened, you know? Like you can't suck my soul through the iPad, but like in person.
It looks like a mouse lemur, raccoon, possum, cat. I love its ears and its big ol' eyes.
Yes.
I think it's cute, but it also seems to have massive hands. Part of its hands almost look like spiders.
Perfect.
It seems like a fun friend. Are you gonna tell me what it is?
Well, yeah, but not while we're recording.
Okay, bye.
Nice. I don't know his name, but I've seen him before.
Have you?
Yeah, he got them big eyes. Is it the one named Baby or something? Something Baby?
I think you're going Bush Baby.
Oh, that might be it.
So you think it's cute?
Yeah.
Does it scare you at all?
I mean, if I ran into one by surprise, I might be scared for a second, but unless it hissed at me or something, I'd be pretty chill. What is it?
I mean,
Other than adorable.
it could be made up and from a legend.
What legend? That's not a Mothman.
Or is it?
Oh my goodness. That, I don't know exactly what it is. It looks like some sort of lemur. It's got like vampire fingers and eyes and the hair of a graceful possum.
Vampire possum.
Vampire possum. That's what I'm calling it.
Now we're there, yeah.
I don't really want to see one in person.
Photo
Oh,
is good. There's the line.
I don't like him. He's kind of spooky.
Okay.
He looks rough too, like scruffily. It's not a possum, like a type of possum. I know it's not the possum, but I feel like I've seen him before.
Only in your nightmares.
Yeah, definitely nightmares. He looks like he's like a Hemingway, like possum. You know how there's like the Hemingway cat?
Yeah, the polydactyl with the 6 toes, like in Key West. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, here it is.
Oh, this has a name. It's not an eye.
Oh. Ding, 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 ding.
Yay. Oh my gosh, these guys are the best.
You must be a member of the Nature League if you know which animal this is.
Obviously, do you see my cool pin?
Do you see this pin? I love this pin. It's a very good pin. Nature League has pins, by the way, on dftba.com.
Get them now.
So what did you think of the eye? Is it the face only a mother could love? And what is it the face of? Well, eyes are a type of lemur, which means they're a primate like us, assuming you're human. Disclaimer, Nature League is a fully open and non-discriminating channel that accepts viewership from all forms of life, carbon-based or not. Although their current classification as primates is settled for now, eyes confused scientists for almost a century after their Western scientific discovery in the 1780s. I mean, just look at it. Is it a primate, rodent, marsupial perhaps? Some of the confusion arose because of their odd collection of adaptations. They have teeth that grow continuously like rodents, but have skull features like that of primates. However, they're bigger than any other nocturnal primate and have mammary glands along their lower abdomen, which primates don't have. Add to that a membrane resembling a third eyelid and the finger version of the Jurassic Park raptor's middle claw, and, well, confusion seems fair enough. They're primarily nocturnal, which makes sense when you consider their eyes. Those suckers would be a major waste of space if not to see in the dark with. The majority of their time during the night is spent looking for food, including seeds and insect larvae. Those big eyes aren't the only feeding adaptation they've got though. Eyes are kind of superhero level foragers, and unique ones at that. Remember those middle fingers we mentioned earlier? Well, instead of using them to be terrifying in a kitchen scene, eyes use those fingers to do something called tap-foraging. They tap on wood surfaces until they sense some kind of cavity. That means there are likely insects below. Then they use those specialized teeth and long, flexible middle fingers to get into the wood and extract the food. The sweetest beats around. While these adaptations make the eye wonderfully suited for living in the forests of Madagascar, their nocturnal lifestyle and odd look gained them a less than positive reputation on the island. Some Madagascar natives consider eyes to be incredibly bad luck. In some extreme tales, the specialized finger of the eye curses the person it points at, or is even used to pick out the hearts of people while they sleep. For some people who share a home island with the eye, their fear of this species is extreme and causes many locals to kill eyes on sight. This, in combination with rapid habitat loss, has led to decreasing eye numbers across the island. However, laws have recently been put in place to protect them from human prosecution. So why make a case for the eye? The threats they face in Madagascar have led to them being listed as endangered on the IUCN Red List. And while I might love them, not too many people around the world know about them. And despite them checking off those classically charismatic traits we talked about earlier, like being a primate and closely related to humans, the eye is just so strange that it can feel more alien than fellow mammal. But its strangeness comes from a long natural history of surviving and thriving in a unique environment, which has led to so many bizarre and incredible adaptations. In fact, in 1863, a prominent British anatomist named Richard Owen cited the eye as strong evidence against Darwin's new theory of natural selection. He claimed that only God could have created something so fit for its unique environment, and that there's no way this Darwin guy is onto something. And this is at the heart of why I love the eye. Its unique, weird, adorable, creepy, lovely strangeness is a result of succeeding in the game of life. The more we learn about something, the more we typically care. And in the case of less than cuddly species, caring might come from respecting their incredible adaptations to living here on Earth alongside us. Though, to be fair, in a perfect world, I would totally be cuddling an eye right now. Learning about a species I've never heard of before is always fun, and I hope those of you who are new to eyes find them as fascinating as I do. For those of you who have heard of the II, I hope you learned something new about these incredible individuals. Thanks for watching this episode of Nature League. Do you have a favorite species that doesn't typically come up in top 10 lists? Leave it in the comments below and we might cover it in a future episode. And to keep going on Life on Earth adventures with us here on Nature League, go to youtube.com/natureleague, subscribe and share. Thanks for watching Nature League, which is produced by Complexly. If you want to keep imagining the world complexly with us, check out Crash Course Business Soft Skills, hosted by Evelyn from the Internets. Over 17 episodes, she'll teach you how to tackle the job search and use skills you already have to stand out in the workplace. Check out the first video about the key to all things business, building trust. The link is in the description.